Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and today's video is part of a collaboration blog hop between Honeybee Stamps and Heffy Doodle Stamps. So several of us design team members are hopping along on our blogs and on Instagram, and we're all creating cards using products from both Heffy Doodle and Honeybee and kind of mixing and matching and having fun with it. So I will have more info in the description box below the video. There'll be a link to the blog post, etc. that you guys can check out if you're interested. So for my card today, I started off with some Neenah Classic Crest 110 pound cardstock, and I die cut it with the largest scalloped A2 wafer die from Honeybee. And then over that, I am taping the NUMICON stencil from Heffy Doodle. And I'm using my washi tape, and I am purposely taping right up to the stitch line on the die cut cardstock. I thought it'd be kind of nice to mask that area off. And for whatever reason, I was in a very pink mood when I made this card. I don't know. I was kind of thinking of different colors, rainbow colors, etc. And then I was like, I haven't done a card in like all pinks in I don't even know how long. So I wanted to just experiment with pinks. So I have 3 different shades of pink in Distress Oxide inks here. I'm starting with Spun Sugar, which is my lightest. And I'm just inking up my mini ink blending tool. And before I bring them to my cardstock, I rub them on my glass mat. I can't explain it, but it creates such a difference. I used to always rub my blending tools off on just scratch paper before bringing them to my cardstock and doing any blending. It just helps give it a smoother blend. But rubbing it on the glass, I get a smoother blend that way. Don't know why. There's something about working on glass that makes a huge difference. So plus that way I can go back to, whatever ink I've smooshed onto my glass mat and, keep picking it up and keep using it. So I just blended those 3 colors over this stencil, just kind of blending them into each other and just having these different shades of pink. And once I was happy with that, I can remove the stencil. And then I'm going to do a little more experimenting here, or experimenting for me anyway. I'm stamping the little cupcake image from the Heffy Doodle Party PALOOZA stamp set, and I am stamping it with Ink on 3's Fade Out ink. This ink is Copic marker friendly, and it is meant to do no line coloring. I've had it for a while. I've had a lot of people asking about it, and a lot of people asking me about no line coloring. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've really attempted to do no line coloring with my Copics. This is something I really avoid. I will say it is definitely a lot more work than just stamping an image in black and coloring it in. I kept it fairly simple here. It definitely takes practice. I was okay with how mine turned out. I wasn't 100% happy with it, but you definitely have to work a little harder with your blends and defining things because you don't have those black lines. But I was okay with how it turned out, and then I really kind of amped it up by adding my white gel pen just to kind of almost re-outline this image, add some little highlights and dots and whatnot. And I did a second one in the exact same colors off camera. And once they were both colored, I die cut them with the coordinating wafer dies. So I've got 2 little pink cupcakes here. And then for my sentiment, I use the Honeybee Happy wafer die, just the word, not the outlines. And I die cut that multiple times from a light pink cardstock. I actually have 4 layers of it here, and I'm going to stack all 4 together with my just multi-medium matte adhesive. And stacking them just gives them that extra depth and dimension. I really love the look of stacked sentiments. Usually I stop at 3, but this pink was just a scrap in my stash. I'll link to a similar one, but it's thinner than the cardstocks I normally work with, so I did 4 for this one. And then to finish the sentiment, I pulled out this oldie but goodie celebration sentiment set from Honeybee and just the word birthday out of it. And I'm going to stamp that onto some Braider pink cardstock. And I'm going to stamp that with some clear embossing ink. And then I'm going to heat emboss that with some detail white embossing powder. So I'm going to stamp that, pour over my embossing powder, and then melt that with my heat tool. And I also have in the lower right there, I have the Honeybee Sentiment Banners wafer dies. So I'm going to die cut this with one of the Sentiment Banners. And I wasn't sure at first which one to use and discovered that the smallest wafer die in that set is actually the perfect size for this sentiment. So once I've got that Sentiment Banner in place, I'm just going to tape into place with some washi tape so I can run that through my die cut machine. And then that's going to be die cut. So I've got pink cupcakes, a pink background, a pink sentiment. Like I said, I was going all out pink with this card. The fun thing about this though is you could totally switch up the colors to whoever you're giving this to, like whatever their favorite color is. So I just was in a pink mood. So I adhered my little colored cupcakes to my stenciled background. And then I'm going to adhere this die cut sentiment, just grabbing my multimedia mat again because it's right in front of me. And I'm going to adhere that into place. And then the birthday sentiment, I'm going to pop up with just a little bit of foam tape since I wanted it to go over that die cut sentiment and it's, you know, stacked up. But before I get to that, I'm going to add some shimmer to this happy die cut. And I'm just using my Nouveau Aqua Shimmer pen. And not enough was coming out, so I like to squeeze a little bit of that off to the side. I'm just squeezing it onto my glass mat and using it as a palette again. And this way I can pick up the shimmer again with the brush without squeezing while I'm over the die cut. Because with this, usually when you squeeze it, it literally like will come out like a blob. So this applies a ton of shimmer, and at the end of the video, I'll turn on the flashlight on my phone so you guys can see, like, it is insanely glittery. So I applied that, let that dry, and then I adhered that birthday sentiment with some foam tape. And then for the inside of the card, I pulled out the Heffy Doodle Everyday Sentiment Duos stamp set, and I grabbed the birthday sentiment from it, and I inked it up with the picked raspberry Distress Oxide ink and stamped that on the inside of my card. And then I grabbed the little cupcake stamp again, and I'm going to stamp that with the Spun Sugar Distress Oxide ink just to kind of finish it off. And it's light enough that you can easily write over that with a ballpoint pen, and it's not going to, you know, crowd the inside of the card. So I got that stamped, and then I'm going to add my card front to the card base with my Nouveau adhesive. And once that's adhered, I got to add just a little bit more bling. So I grabbed a couple sets of jewels. These are Lucy's Raspberry Mix and Rose Pink Mix jewels. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle these rather liberally on my card front here. And then once I'm happy with how many I've got going, I'm going to adhere these with little dabs of multimedia matte adhesive. Just picking these up with my jewel picker and adhering them into place. And once I have everything adhered, that is going to finish off my card. So I will have a link below the video to the blog post. I'll have links to all the supplies used. You can check that out in the description box below the video. Thank you all so much for stopping by and for joining me today. And if you haven't already subscribed, I would love it if you would. Thank you all so much for watching and commenting and thumbs upping my videos. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you all very soon in the next one. Bye!